Please welcome to the stage the Greek freak, Yanni Saratsis.
I love that I'm called the Greek freak. Yes, I am Greek. My brother actually works with a Greek freak, so it's a great sort of nickname. I don't know how I'm going to follow that. AI had nothing to do with my presentation. I wish I knew about all the creative help it could have given me because I was up at 3 a.m. trying to tweak this. So I just used good old Google image search to copyright some images of Indiana Jones. I want to talk to you today about conquering the temple of fear, how you can push your organization to greater heights with testing. So I'm going to show you 4 random experiments, and I'll tell you in a little bit why I'm showing these. So this is the NPR station in North Carolina. We did a pop-up on their website with "Were you expecting paywall?" If you listen to NPR at all, they talk about we're free, independent journalism. You don't have to go through a paywall like the Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal to get your news. And we're like, great, this experiment's going to work. This is what you're using on air. 41% decrease in transactions. Boo. Come on, everyone start booing. How about this one? If you've talked to me upstairs at the optimization station, you've probably heard me say value prop, value prop, value prop. It doesn't matter if there are words on your donation page or if there are a lot of words, as long as they're meaningful, it makes an impact. So we took this organization that had just a headline on the donation page. And then we put a bunch of copy talking about why you should donate to this organization. Decrease in transactions again. I feel like I'm failing. I'm living through the fear. How about this organization? Selling a book, Are We Living in the End Times? It came out right after the invasion of Israel. And then we tested something that I would never, ever do. I put a video on a donation page. You've probably heard NextAfter if you followed us say, never do that. It increases friction. Don't ever do that. 41% increase in revenue. And then my personal favorite, if you've worked with me for a while, you know we are running a yes/no ad for an organization. Do you believe that property rights are fundamental to economic freedom? And then you've probably seen this version of an ad everywhere. NextAfter loves to use this. It's like the Notes app on your phone. Take the survey, tell them how I feel about property rights and link to economic freedom, say there's a link between secure. I'm actually happy this one actually lost. Every other organization I've tested this with, the Notes app test has actually won. So what do all these experiments have in common? If you couldn't tell, the results were the opposite of what we expected. These organizations have worked with us for a while. They're not afraid to continue testing. They're not afraid to test crazy things like, let's put a video on a donation page and see if that actually works. So let me tell you a quick story about a homepage takeover. Who here knows what a homepage takeover is? Not a ton. So basically, during a high urgency campaign, or say like a Giving Tuesday or end of year, we'll take the main URL for an organization, neosummit.com, and then we'll redirect it to a donation page, or in the case of Neo Summit, to a ticket page. The hypothesis is most people coming to your website during that time of year, especially end of year or Giving Tuesday, are going there to donate. So let's reduce the amount of friction. Let's get rid of people having to click that donate button or find where to donate, and increase the amount of transactions. So this organization, this was a couple of years ago, we said, okay, please, we want to test turning the homepage into the calendar year-end donation page for a week. No. How about, okay, turn the homepage into the year-end donation page for 3 days? No. How about, okay, can I please just turn the homepage into the donation page for the last day? Guess what they said? No. So what we actually ended up doing is you can do this for the last 12 hours of December 31st for just 25% of the traffic to our website. And if there are any major complaints, we'll never do this again. Their fear was that people visiting the website would not want to donate. They would get dissuaded by just being asked to make a donation, and they would complain to leadership, the board would call, everything would happen, and then donations would crash. Indiana Jones reference here. So what actually happened? We got almost $13,000 worth of revenue, and again, 12 hours on December 31st for 25% of the traffic. $13,000 worth of revenue, 61 active donors, $210 revenue per donor, and then 13 new donors from this campaign. More importantly, 62% of the gifts secured just during those 12 hours, 25% of the traffic on December 31st, were the first gift of the year for donors who gave to the homepage takeover. They had not given throughout the entire year to all the emails they received, texts, Giving Tuesday. They gave to this year-end takeover. We also activated 7 mid-level donors, and then, again, 7 mid-level donors from 12 hours, 25% of the traffic to their website. In 2020, this homepage takeover produced 3.7% of the dollars raised during this campaign. Tiny percentage, you can see Giving Tuesday, year-end emails, main donation form did most of the lift. How many complaints do you think there were? Correct, 0. No one called to complain about this 12-hour test on 25% of the traffic. So we said, okay, let's leap forward to 2021, and let's commit to the original test, which was homepage takeover, last 7 days of the year to 100% of the traffic. You can see the increase, last 7 days of the year is when most of the revenue came in. So in 2021, we actually did almost $100,000 worth of revenue from 259 active donors, $378 revenue per donor, and 41 new donors. Put it into perspective, I love green arrows. I know I showed a bunch of red ones before. That's 97% increase in revenue, 258% increase in active donors, 81% increase in revenue per donor, and then 215% increase in the number of new donors. We also grew the number of mid-level donors from 7 to 37, and we got 4 major donors donating to that. Usually major donors are the ones that call, pick up the phone, complain, saying like, I went to your homepage, why are you asking me to donate? The homepage takeover grew to the 3rd largest channel, and guess what was even better than that though? 0 complaints. 0 people calling the organization saying, how dare you ask me to donate when I'm visiting during the last week of the year. So let's try this again in 2021. Because of the success of that experiment, we actually extended the runtime from 7 days to 19 days in 2022 for 100% of the traffic. Increase in revenue, 15% increase in the number of active donors, 2% increase in the revenue per donor. Shockingly, decrease in number of new donors, but it was also a much longer runtime. And then we saw the same spreads. We've got a good mix of mid-level donors and major donors coming in. And the homepage takeover tactic was the 2nd largest channel in terms of revenue during December. So remember, this organization started 2 years ago, 25% of the traffic on the last day of the year. The homepage takeover was 3% of total donations, and in 2 years, just by conquering their fears and believing in the results and looking at data to actually validate experiments and get you to leadership and talk to leadership to get you to experiment, we grew this to 28% of total revenue. So what's the moral of the story? Don't be afraid to test. Embrace your testing, embrace your experimentation. There are lots of reasons to test. How about you want to learn something new? You've never done a homepage takeover. You want to try it, see how it works. How about trying to break down silos with data? The amount of conversations we have with organizations and board members that say yes, I really want to test this, but please do it for new donors. 1 week of the year, not mobile because Google doesn't like it when you have a pop-up on your homepage. Just a number of reasons we hear all the time of why not to test. I love just showing them this presentation and saying this is what happens when you actually conquer your fear and live through experimenting. Trying something new, it's a little bit different from learning something new, but you want to try something new, try a homepage takeover, try a pop-up, try adding value prop to your donation form. And then to me, the most important thing is see if you actually gain or lose something by not doing something the same way anymore. So just because you've always had traffic on Giving Tuesday go to your main donation page or your main homepage doesn't mean you shouldn't try a homepage redirect, a pop-up. Try a personalized email, try peer-to-peer texting, try TikTok ads. I love talking about TikTok ads, please don't do them. But there's a ton of things that you should not be afraid of to experiment. So I wanted to just leave you with just refuse to live in your fears. If you know Indiana Jones is scared of snakes, you've probably seen a ton of snakes around here. I remember talking to someone setting up, he's like, we opened up a box, it was full of snakes, and we kind of freaked out a little bit, but they were plastic snakes. But again, I just want to leave you, don't be afraid to experiment, don't be afraid to live in your fears. The results will follow. Thank you.